Alright, so in this side tutorial or fundamental tutorial on Maya, I want to go over shaders and the lights for Arnold. Okay. Alright, so I made myself a wall. Okay. I think I'll make a tutorial on that after too. But for now I want to stick to this. So here's my Hypershade, which is over here. Okay. I docked it, which is basically, let's pretend this is gone. And I press that. Here's my Hypershade. The way you dock this is you go, see how it's turning? There. There you go. That's how you dock it. And here's our Hypershade. And like I mentioned in the PDFs, it's where you go to design the visual looks of your model to give it skin. Not skin, but it's shading. Like, is it plastic? Is it metallic? Is it transparent? You know, this is where you go. Okay, so first thing I want to do is make a physical sun and sky. That way you can see what's happening when you render. Let's do that first. I'm going to go to Arnold, Lights, Physical Sky. Now turn black, but still there. It's literally a dome that's blasting light and colors into the scene. And here it is, the sky dome. And here's a good introduction to the attribute editor. Here's a name. This looks like a shader, but it's supposed to represent the sky dome affecting the shader. It just looks a little confusing. And one thing you want to look at is the exposure. This amplifies how bright it is. So let's set it to 1. See how it already changed. Samples is the shadow quality. Set it to 2. Shadow color. Everything else just leave alone. Alright, we got that out of the way. So, okay, we have that. I quickly mentioned what it is. It throws light and color 360 degrees, hence the dome. And this is what we call global illumination, because it's globally throwing light, colors, and shadows to the scene. Alright. Next, let's assign our first shader. I'm going to go to channel box. I don't need an attribute editor right now, channel box. I had put the this infinity wall on its own layer. I need to name it. Let's name it infinity wall underscores. Alright, I'm going to unlock it because I need to assign a shader to it. Now, there's this shader I want to introduce you to. My previous semester students, they know about it, but it's a good review anyway. Let's go under Arnold, shader. We're going to use Arnold's shader, not Maya's old-fashioned shader. Arnold's shader under surface, and we're going to choose AI shadow matte. Okay, or more quickly, you can just inside of here press the tab key. This little thing will pop up. You type in AI shadow, click, and it made it for you. Here's this. Do not delete this end part. Just this part is good. This is good. Here's sky dome. I need to get rid of that. Let me just let's clear this area. Good to show you this too. This 3 stars wipes out the area, but it does not delete it. Let's go back here to the AI shadow matte. No. Press this guy right here, which is inputs and outputs. There you go. That's how you pull it and show it. So I want to introduce you to the shadow matte. I'm going to click on this attribute editor, that way we can see its attributes, its qualities. Alright. First I need to select the wall. I'm going to assign it to this. I'm going to select the wall. I'm going to go over to this node, the AI shadow, right click again, assign material to viewport selection. That's our selection in our viewport, in the perspective. I'm going to assign it, and it just changed color. And what this is, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the render view, which is this guy. Let's wipe this out. Ignore this. I'm going to hit update full scene, Control U. Okay, good. As you can see, there's nothing here. This here is the alpha channel. But do you see that? Doesn't it look like the wall with the little bend over here and, you know, gradation? So what's happening is that it's invisible, but I mean the wall is invisible because the shader is making it invisible, but it's catching the shadows or the reflection of it, or just the properties of it, because this should be pure black. So the way I'm going to explain this is where, and I'll explain why it's why you can't see it. So here's my AI shadow matte, which is applied to the wall. If you look here, here's its attributes. Background, meaning the background. Alright, scene background. Right now, the shader is set to the scene's background, meaning this here, this blue and gray, that's the physical sun and sky, its background. That's casting, literally, of the physical sun and sky. In the 3D world, you see the dome, pure black. I mean the viewport, in the raw viewport. But in here, this is what it looks like, that physical sun and sky. This is its visual representation. With that being said, this shader is using the physical sun and sky's background as its color. That sounds a little weird, right? Like, what are you talking about? Well, let's say I click this and I choose background color. Now it's going to choose any color that I choose instead of the physical sun and sky's background color. Remember, this is the physical sun and sky. You see that? The blue and the gradation, the gray. That's this, the blue, gradation, and the gray. Let's even zoom out a bit. See? There's your physical sun and sky. And there's the sun. This is the sun's visual representation. Alright. I'm going to turn that. Oh, also, you see how it's white? That's because the AI shadow matte, it's set to its background color, meaning this shouldn't be called background color. This should be called shader color. Yeah, this confuses people. And this should be called shader color. And this should have the choices to be, scene background makes sense. And this should be called shader color. Instead of background color, scene background color. It just sounds confusing. Anyway, so right now it's set to white because I set it to white. But watch when I change it, because I have my, I don't have my IPR on. Well, let's wait. There it is. I'm gonna click that. I'm gonna change it. And I'm gonna change the saturation. See, now it changes to the background color of the shader. If I change this to scene background, it's going to change it to the physical sun and sky's background. See, it's disappeared. But do you see this? This is the actual wall, and it's showing its shape, which is here. And if I do this, see that? There you go. That's set to scene, meaning the physical sky's scene. I'm going to change it to background. I'm going to change from alpha to color. There you go. So overall, use background color to give its own color. Scene background color will make it invisible. You could just think of it that way. Here's its shadows, because it catches shadows for you while making it invisible. Diffuse is its color. Specular is its reflection, because it'll make reflections for you. So you know what? Let me turn that off. I'll show after. I'm gonna put something in the scene. I'm gonna go Shift. I have nothing selected. I'm gonna hold Shift, right click, make a cube. Here's my cube. I'm gonna hit F to frame it. I'm gonna pull it up. W is to pull it up. I'm gonna zoom out. And there it is. I'm gonna zoom out. I have my IPR on. That means it's interactively rendering if something is moving, like the camera. Alright, now here's my wall, right? I'm gonna select the AI shadow. Let's turn on indirect specularity. Now it's gonna make the ground shine reflective. Watch. See? But the neat part is, see? Everything is black, transparent, but you see its reflection. It catches the reflection. And it's also meant to catch the shadows. But you'll see that it's kind of grainy and ugly. That's because the render settings are set too low. That's for another chapter, tutorial. I got that through the alpha channel. Now back to color channel. So that's the AI shadow matte. We will be using this extensively. All right. What else? Okay, so the other thing I want to share too is the shadows. I'm going to turn the camera, holding down Alt, also known as Option, left mouse click, and turn. Here's my shadow. But watch when I click on the alpha channel. See how it catches the shadow. Hence the term, I'm going to go to my Materials tab, Shadow Matte. It's going to catch the matte shadows. It's going to catch the shadow. In the old times, they used to call it shadow catcher. And also, you know, reflection catching. So that's the speciality of the shadow matte shader. You'll see it in color, but when you render it, it'll render invisible if you want, and still catches shadow and reflections. It's great for compositing. Alright. Then, next thing. Right now, this cube, I selected it. Let's say I want to know what shaders using on this cube. Oh, do you see this too? I'm gonna wipe this out. I don't want to confuse you guys. I'm gonna click that to 3 stars. Wipes it off the workstation area. So like I said, let's say I want to know the shader for this. So which one is it? Is it this one? Is it this one? Which one is it? Well, I click on this. Graph materials on selected objects. Here's my selected objects. I want to graph what materials are on my selected object. There you go. Right now, this cube is set to the Lambert 1, which is the default shader. So whatever you make, it will be with this. But I want it to be having a Arnold shader. So let's press tab and I'm gonna type out standard surface. AI standard surface. Don't use a standard surface, use an AI standard surface. They're pretty much the same, but subtle differences. Just use AI standard. So it just made that for me. Again, that was through pressing the tab key. AI standard. I'm gonna name this cube shader. And I only want this to be shown, so I'm gonna just press that. That guy right there. And now only that shows. That one. So here it is. Looks the same, right? Well, I guess for now, because it's the same gray color, I'm gonna press the camera so I get a snapshot. I'm also gonna lock the camera so I don't keep on moving and activate the rendering. So to lock the camera is here. Oh, I docked it by accident. Where are you? Where's my cam? Oh, it's so if you don't see some tabs, you gotta click here. See, now it pops open. This one, lock camera. This is the one that I showed also in the my PDF notes. I'm gonna lock the camera so that I can't move it, but the renderer tries to render. Anyway, I locked the camera. I docked the Arnold render view. Here's a Hypershade. Here's that render view. I'm gonna go back to the Hypershade. And let me grab the Arnold view out. I'm gonna just dock it so it's side by side. Come on. Wait. Come on. Alright, so I docked it in place next to the Hypershade. So here's my cube. I'm gonna click on it and it's activated here in my attribute editor. Now, let's say I don't want it to be shiny. That's, well, you know, let's go for the top view, top level. Base is its color for the Arnold standard surface. Right now it's set to semi whitish gray. Let's click here and change this color to like a pastel light blue, or maybe not since the background is that color anyway. Or yeah, I'll just leave it here. Now I'm gonna hit render. Didn't render, why not? Oh, that's weird, it didn't render. Huh. You know what, I'm gonna grab the AI shadow matte shader and the background color. I'm gonna just set it to more of a white. Now I'm gonna hit render, hopefully it'll update. Okay, it did update. So I set my background to more of a whitish, grayish. You know, I selected the AI shadow matte in my Hypershade. I went to my attribute editor to change its attributes of the shader. The background color more whitish than that bluish color before. See before, after. Now I'm going to go grab my cube shader and my attribute editor. I wonder why it won't change. Look at that. Oh, did I even assign it? Oh, let's check. I don't think I even assigned it. That's good. I made this mistake because it's a perfect example where the students will also make this mistake. We were too busy making the shader and naming it and didn't even assign it. Let's see if let's verify if it's assigned or not. I'm gonna grab the cube shader, right click, select objects with material. Oh, look at that. It's not even assigned. So good. This was a good mistake. I'm gonna click the cube, hover over the cube shader, right click, assign material to viewport selection. So we linked the cube shader to the cube model. Good, we figure out what went wrong. Okay, so let me zoom in. Now let's see what happens when I mess with the specular. Right now it's set to 1. Alright, let me save this too. It's I selected my cube shader. Previously, before that, I had set the matte shadow to white with background color, which basically means literally what the shader's color is gonna be. And scene background means invisible. Just a quick review, because that got me confused for the longest time. Anyway, cube shader. Let's see what happens when we turn the specular, its weight is its strength, down to nothing. Let's do a render. And now it's completely matte. Let's zoom in. I zoomed in with the scroll. See? Let's save that. Let's zoom this out. Set to 1 to 1. So that's the specular. Then you could go halfway, which is oftentimes what you could do real quick, is set the weight, say, I don't know, like here. You could even set to 1, set its roughness to, watch this change. See, very hazy and soft. 0.5, something around there, half. See what happens now. I often do this a lot, so that's why I kind of want to share it too, just to get a nice effect. Render, update full scene. So this is what we had before, where we shut off all its specular weight, and what we have now. Here is, this one is at 100% specular. 100% specular, 50% specular. So this one's nice. It's just enough. This one is blown out like your generic 1990s 3D. This one is okay. It's still generic looking, but it's a little bit more balanced at least compared to this, which is just completely dark and dark. So boom, boom. And let's snapshot it. Boom, boom. So oftentimes I'll do something like this. Set it to 1 and set the roughness to half. Or the other times I set to roughness at half and the weight to half as well. You know, or yeah, let's try that. There, look at that. Even more different. So this to that. No shininess specular to it. To I think what? 50 or roughness at half. and still the power weight to 1. And this one is half and half. Before, after. And this one's gonna be no specular. No specular, half specular, and half roughness. So just to quickly go over, specular is its shininess, its weight, this is strength, its roughness is how hazy, glossed over it is. Color is you could change the color. Let's make it something obvious, like, I don't know, red. Always pay attention to hue, saturation, and value. Also on max, this is kind of finicky. Like it'll throw some kind of warning, like something. I forgot which button, but it's either left or right one. It's yes or no or something. You click it and you might have to click it once or twice more and it goes away. So I set it to something red, and if you look over here, it changes. So let's do a render. And remember, it's at half power and half roughness. And there you go. Before, no color change, color change. Let's save that. Now what happens if we to set the weight to 1? Let's do a render. Oh look, it was bright. Pops out a lot. Or what happens if you set the roughness to 1? Does that do anything? Oh, it takes away everything. It's subtle. Like, not even worth it. Save it. This one is set to 1 and 1 roughness. IOR, you don't have to mess with that, or this one, I can't even pronounce it, and so I can't even pronounce it. Anyway, just weight and roughness and color at times. For now, that's all you need. And later on, you'll be plugging in more things, but that's that. And then that should cut it off for now. Yeah, I'll do some more updates later.